Today we're going to break down the head covering in worship that's talked about in 1 Corinthians 11. It says the head of every man is Christ. And it says every man who prays or prophesies with his head covered dishonors his head. So if the head of every man is Christ, then this can be read as every man who prays or prophesies with Christ covered dishonors Christ. Seeking favor and expecting blessings while refusing to submit to Christ dishonors Christ. The head of the wife is her husband, and every woman who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head. Head coverings and veils are symbolic for submission and respect to authority. But this is not referencing an actual real head covering or veil. It is referencing a wife's respect and submission to her husband. This is saying that a woman or a wife who calls herself a Christian but then refuses to submit and respect her husband dishonors her husband. It is the same as having her head shaved. In other words, it's the same as not being a wife at all. If a woman does not cover her head, she might as well have her hair cut off. If a wife refuses to submit to and respect her husband, she might as well not have a husband at all. But if it is a disgrace for a woman to have her hair cut off or her head shaved, then she should cover her head. That is a warning. If you do not want your marriage to fail, if you do not want to lose your husband, then you should respect and submit to your husband. If you call yourself a Christian woman, a Christian wife, a man ought not cover his head since he is the image and glory of God, but woman is the glory of man. A man ought not cover his head, for he is the image and glory of God. That is not just to men in general, that is to mankind. Mankind in general is the glory of God. His children is his glory, and we were made in his image. So we shouldn't ignore his authority. We should respect him and submit to him. A woman is the glory of man. A wife is the glory of her husband. If a husband respects and submits to the authority of Christ, then a woman, his wife, who respects and submits to his authority, that wife will be his glory. A woman ought to have a sign of authority on her head because of the angels, saying that a wife ought to respect her husband and submit to her husband's authority, giving her husband authority, and it should be obvious. And then it mentions the angels. It's talking about the fallen angels. The fallen angels were able to come down from heaven and take any woman they wanted. They were able to pluck wives right out of their marriages and commit adultery, fornication, and sexual immorality with them. So this is a warning for wives to respect their husbands and submit to their husband's authority, and for it to be obvious. Because if a woman does this, then she will not